nothing. You bet the whole 200, the last?
Well, you know me, Doc. When I'm strung for anything, I don't stop halfway. Now, don't worry. When we get to Belmont, I'll get a job.
My boy, we're 200 miles from Belmont. We're broke. What about shelter? What about sustenance? What about... And it's going to rain.
Yeah. Let's find a nice, cozy truck heading south.
Youth.
Come on, Toots. Sorry about that last 100, Doc. I just had a hunch.
You didn't even hold out anything for food. Don't know what happens to me when I miss my dinner.
Well, I'll make it up when we get to Belmont. I'll get a job with one of the bookies, or I can always sell peanuts or hamburgers.
Make it hamburgers. I don't like peanuts.
At any rate, I'll get something to do. Now, let's grab a good night's sleep.
Here's where I turn to the left. Sorry. Kind of a tough night.
Thanks.
Oh, if you only didn't have hunches.
Dark enough for you, Doc?
Maybe this will help.
We've got to find a dry place to sleep. Come on.
Where are we anyhow?
Somewhere in Westchester, I guess.
How do you know there's nobody home?
Look at that dust and those cobwebs. Neat? Got my faults like everybody else, but no one can say I'm not neat. Here.
If we go inside, it's trespassing.
And if we stay out, it's pneumonia. Come on.
Now, wait,
I suppose it would be asking too much for the kitchen to be stocked with staples.
Wood.
They might be. These summer homes, you know.
Wood.
What, dinner not ready? Oh, the servant problem these days.
Barry, let's get out of here.
We just came in.
Now, listen, if somebody sees these lights, we'll spend the night in the local Bastille.
Quit worrying.
What do you want me to do? Break in a song? Where are you going now?
The owners didn't get down for the summer. At any rate, they're away. You know, it must be swell to live like this all the time. Ease, comfort.
Do that.
Who wouldn't run straight?
Straight to jail. That's where you'll get your ease and comfort.
Oh, yeah?
Where are you going now?
They must have wonderful beds in this house.
I don't want to go to bed. Oh, you can't do this, Barry. Tell them we're not in.
It's not connected yet. That's a break. Let's stick close to me, Doc. Hello?
Oh. Shh. Nothing to it. Hey, don't leave me.
Well, come in, Doc. The master's bedroom. Fireplace all set. I tell you, Doc, we were expected.
We're expected to get out of here.
You're turning into quite a professional warrior, Doc.
Barry.
Yeah, indeed, we were expected. They even knew it was going to rain. Get out of those wet things, Doc. without people. People without houses. Funny world.
Barry, your experiences are now practically complete. You've been an ex-newspaper man, an ex-actor, an ex-hobo, and now you're going to round it out very nicely. You're going to be an ex-convict.
Well, I can't be an ex-convict until I get out of jail, can I?
No, but...
Well, I'm not in yet, so why worry?
Barry, you try this. These anchovies simply ruin my appetite for baked beans.
You know, Doc, when I was a kid at the orphanage, once a month we used to have visitors who'd look over us little mugs and sometimes pick one out and take him home with them. All the kids used to pray that they'd land in a joint like this. Only they never did. A very nice man adopted me. Put me to work in a cotton mill. Birthday present at the age of 12.
And what has all that to do with this?
Nothing. I was just thinking. Houses without people. People without houses.
Well, you can't say the same thing about jails. Now, Barry, I think we'd better hit the hay and pull out of here before dawn.
Yes, I guess you're right. Remind me in the morning to leave a note of thanks to the owners, will you? Hold it, Doc. If the lights go out now, they'll know there's something wrong.
The window.
Your dressing gown and slippers?
I was a fool to take my clothes off. It's the second time. I got caught once in St. Louis with the shoes off. Barry. Barry, come back here.
Come in quickly, get out of the rain. Quickly, get in quickly. Is that you, Mr. Ritter? Mr. Ritter, that's you, isn't it? I'm Willits, the butler.
Late, aren't you, Willits?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but we weren't expecting you tonight. Your mother said you weren't arriving till tomorrow. Evans here took her and your father down to the boat, you know.
Of course. They got off all right?
Oh, yes, sir, quite. Oh, this is Mrs. Mulligan, cook. And this is Annie, the parlor maid. I hope we didn't disturb you, sir.
Only for a moment, Willits.
Well,
This is Dr. Morton, my guest.
I'm his guest.
I'll tell him. Please see we're not disturbed. We've had quite a day.
Yes, sir.
Do you think he's anything like his old man?
I don't know, Evans. I've never seen him before.
You certainly must live right.
Seems that I'm Mr. Ritter.
Yeah, but that won't last. We'd better get out of here.
Come in.
Sorry, sir, but I felt that I'd like to know that you were comfortable, sir, for the night.
Everything's perfect, Willits. Fire and everything.
Yes, sir. If you need anything, sir, just ring. I'll take those, sir.
Never mind.
Oh, they'll be ready for you, sir, in the morning.
We were caught in the rain.
Yes, sir. What time breakfast, sir?
We'll say 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Yes, sir. You won't mind if things are a little makeshift the first day, sir?
Oh, the first day it'll be all right.
Certainly. Good night, Willits.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Ritter.
Good night.
And you, Doctor.
You won't lose my trousers, will you? My shirt is very short.
I should be very careful.
Thank you.
Easy.
Too easy. There's some catch to it. I don't like it.
I love it.
You would. Now, how are we going to get out of here in the morning if he has our clothes, Barry?
Mr. Ritter to you. Ritter. Say, do you know whose house this is?
Sure, Mr. Ritter.
Yeah, John Clark Ritter, publisher, New York Globe.
Yeah? I suppose that'll help us if we have to leave here naked.
Now, wait a minute. Sure. That's the guy who disowned his son 8 or 9 years ago. Big blow-up when the kid left college to play a saxophone in a band or something. Never came back. Mother broken-hearted, father cold and unforgiving.
Yes, well...
Well, now all must be forgiven and the son is home.
Wait a minute. The son is coming home tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, well, what I mean is we're going to be gone by daylight.
First we'll have breakfast and get our clothes. What a bed.
I bet they're going to spoil us for that Bastille.
Can you imagine a guy giving all this up to play a saxophone? Disowning's too good for him. He probably couldn't play it anyway. Well, good morning, Willett.
Good morning, sir. Orange juice, sir?
What a beautiful day, Willett.
It could hardly be more perfect, sir.
Yes, always after rain, there's a clean, fragrant...
We meant no harm, Your Honor.
Nightmare, Doctor?
Why, no, you might say it was a dress rehearsal.
Will you take breakfast in bed, sir?
Oh, we'll eat in the usual place, Willett. And tell Evans we'll be needing the car right after breakfast.
Very good, sir. Your clothes, sir. And the morning paper, sir.
Thanks.
What is the matter with you?
Is there any reason why we should walk to Belmont?
Well, however we go, let's get started.
What's the hurry?
That Ritter boy might be here any minute.
Oh, relax, Doctor. Those fashionable young men never rise before.
Yeah, well, this morning he might not be so fashionable. Will you get out?
Father's paper shows quite an active interest in politics these days. Hey! Baby Jane's entered in the 7th at Narragansett. Good odds, too. I wonder where I can lay a bet.
That should be easy for you, Mr. Ritter.
News of the folks, Doctor. Listen to this. Mr. and Mrs. John Clark Ritter Sr. sailed last night on the Manhattan en route for Bad Nauheim. Mr. Ritter has been ailing for some time. They will be gone for at least 8 weeks. Did you hear that, Doctor? 8 weeks.
So the old man is ailing, eh? Well, I hope it's nothing trivial.
Yes, I'm afraid Dad's been poisoned by his own personality.
Oh, now it's a dad, eh?
You know, Doc, I've never been able to figure out how Mother put up with him all these years. Mean, irritable, narrow-minded, sanctimonious old hypocrite. She must be an angel.
She must be. She's even forgiven you. Stop that. You got me doing nothing.
Yeah, Doc, take a bite of this.
Oh!
Breakfast is served, Doctor. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Willis. And what have you to offer this lovely morning, Willis?
Raspberries.
I was afraid of that. Oh, yes, of course, raspberries.
Good morning, Doctor.
We've heard so much about you, sir, and you seem so different.
I am Willits.
Do you care for eggs, Mr. Ritter?
Very much, poached.
Very good, sir, very good. Oh, and you, Doctor?
2 in the water for 3 minutes and a stack of wheats.
2 in the water?
Make it a side of ham.
Oh, yes, sir, certainly.
See the idea? Dignity.
A letter for your mother, sir.
So I see. Forward it to her, Willits.
Pardon me, sir. She expected some mail from the employment agency.
Oh, then you take care of it.
Might I suggest, sir, that you answer it? The positions have already been filled. Your mother's last instructions, sir.
For what?
She expressed the hope that you would attend to all household matters now, sir.
Well, then we won't disappoint her, Willits.
Why? Look, sir, look!
What is it?
There's a pane of glass being removed. Somebody's tried to get into the house.
Somebody got in, Willits. I didn't have a key, you know, and it didn't seem a very good evening for strolling around the grounds.
Oh, I see, sir.
I knew it.
You knew what?
It's a federal offense. Atlanta, Leavenworth, Alcatraz.
Make up your mind.
Atlanta. Oh, shut up.
Relax, Doctor.
Will you tell me?
A beautiful day, Willits. Why am I repeating myself?
You are, sir, but it makes the morning none the less beautiful, sir.
I think you are beautiful, too, Willits.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, not at all.
About your luggage, sir. I noticed that the...
Well, we left it at the station last night. Not being able to get a cab, you know.
Very good, sir. I see. Well, if you'd let me have your check, sir, I'll have Evans pick it up this morning.
Oh, never mind. We'll probably pass the station this morning. I'll attend to it.
Very good, sir.
Will you tell me what this is all about?
Delighted, Doctor. What a beautiful, beautiful day.
Thank you, Willett.
Oh, your keys, Mr. Ritter. I can't understand what's detaining Evans, sir.
Well, that's all right, Willett. There's plenty of time.
I think we'd better go. Let's walk to the station.
What's the hurry? We've plenty of time.
Now, listen.
Morning, Annie.
Good morning, Mr. Ritter. Doctor?
Now, listen. Willett said that Jeeves...
Evans, Doctor.
All right, Evans. But I didn't like the look in Willie's eye when he said that Evans had taken the car to the station. Suppose he comes back with a package of police.
Always suspecting people of the basest motive.
All right, yes.
You're right. Evans should have been back over half an hour ago.
Exactly.
Remind me to severely reprimand him on his return.
You are overplaying your luck, my boy. Will you come down to earth? Do you realize what we have done? When they find out that you have opened the mail, taken 500...
The money will be returned. I'm only borrowing it. Our luck is changing, Doc.
And how? From trespass to grand larceny? How long do you think we can get away with this?
Listen, it's obvious those servants were engaged after the kid left home. That was years ago. Evidently, nobody knows what he looks like. Now, what's to prevent us from...
Oh, look.
Never mind, Ed. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome home, my boy.
Thanks.
We heard you had arrived last night, but didn't expect you until today. I'm Judge Hammond.
Judge?
You were just a little shaver when I last saw you.
Oh, yes, of course.
This is my daughter, Patricia.
How do you do? Judge, this is Dr. Morton.
How do you do?
Oh, won't you come in, Judge, and Miss Hammond?
No, thank you. We're on our way to the club for a round of golf. I'd like to explain. Your mother and I are quite good friends. She wrote me a little note telling me that you were coming down here during her absence, and inasmuch as you've been away from home so long, asked me to introduce myself to you, and if I could, help you to, well, become acclimated.
Well, that was very thoughtful of her. And you?
Not at all. She's a lovely woman. Oh, will you join us? Come to the club. Perhaps we can make it a foursome.
I'm sorry, I'm left-handed.
That's very kind of you, but I'm afraid we can't today. I don't think Miss Hammond would enjoy it anyway.
Why, You're quite right, I wouldn't.
Now, Pat, you see your father.
Yeah, I know, I saw the headlines. Believe me, Miss Hammond, I'm the last person in the world who can be held responsible for them.
Of course, Pat, the very last.
Believe me, it's even more remote than that.
I suppose so. But if you're anything like that muck-raking, vicious old...
Now, Pat.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad, but those headlines did upset me so much. How do you do, Mr. Ritter?
I'm wonderful.
Why don't you join us? It's such a beautiful day for golf.
It's a beautiful day, all right. No, I'm afraid we can't. We have too much to do.
Oh, that's perfectly all right, my boy, but we can expect you for dinner soon. Say, tomorrow night?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Splendid.
Don't bother dressing. Just dinner clothes.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Don't bother dressing, just dinner clothes. Deeper and deeper.
Onward and upward. Will you ever stop eating? You just finished a huge dinner a couple of hours ago.
Do you remember last Tuesday outside of Saratoga? We were broke.
Well?
This is last Tuesday's lunch. Now, let's see. I have last Tuesday's dinner, Wednesday's breakfast, Wednesday's lunch. I should be caught up with my back meals by about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And then, my boy, I think we had better leave.
Oh, no wonder Pat was sore.
Pat?
Yeah, you know, Patricia. Listen to this. And the delay in the Jefferson Street condemnation proceedings can mean only one thing. That Judge Hammond is a puppet of Mike Kelly. He only moves when the boss pulls the strings. That's really too bad.
Why don't you order the managing editor to stop picking on the judge?
I've been thinking about that.
Now, listen, Barry. You are going to wind up in a gray suit and a short haircut. Now, you mark my words.
Come in. Yes, Willits?
Evans has returned at last, sir. Do you still wish to see him?
Well, yes.
Very good, sir. You may come in now, Evans.
Evans, why did you leave without permission this morning and not return until now? Well?
I'm sorry, Mr. Ritter, that you had to take the train into town. I know I had no business running off with a car all day, but it was a personal matter.
Personal?
Yes, sir. You see, Mr. Ritter, my wife had a baby a couple of weeks ago, and she ain't doing so well. I didn't know whether she was going to pull through last night or not. I just had to go in. I've been trying to figure out some way to take her out the country for a little while. I asked your father just before he left if I could bring her out here and put her up in the rooms over the garage. I'd pay for it out of my salary. But he wouldn't let me bring her. So if you want to fire me, go ahead.
Evans, this is probably unprecedented in the annals of the Ritter family. You better go right into town, gather up your wife and family, and bring them out here first thing in the morning. I hope the garage will be all right.
Gee, Mr. Ritter, I don't know how to thank you.
Well, I'd really feel much more comfortable if you didn't, Evans.
Well, you're okay, Mr. Ritter. Nothing like your old man. Begging your pardon, sir.
What's the matter with you?
Oh, nothing, sir, except...
Except what?
You said to bring his family.
That's right.
But Evans has 6 children.
6, eh? Well, with the 3 of us, we'll have a baseball team.
Oh, I wouldn't feel badly about it, Jack. After all, I suppose that's just the newspaper business.
Oh, I don't know about that, Judge. I wouldn't let him get away with those headlines. Why don't you hire Mr. Winslow here and let him sue the old man for libel?
I'm not that kind of a lawyer, Jack.
Oh, nothing short of murder amuses you.
Oh, my dear, and you actually saved her life single-handed?
I had to. There was nobody there to help me. I couldn't let her die.
Oh, how courageous. And about that tiger you killed, why, I would have been frightened frightened to death.
My dear, that is one thing about a tiger. You must never let him see that you're frightened.
Oh, no, I won't.
However, let us talk of something interesting.
Oh, well, what?
You.
Oh, Doctor.
Oh, it wasn't so bad. Traveling around, hitting a few of the rough spots.
No doubt it did you more good than harm.
Except his father had other ideas.
That may be, but your mother never lost her confidence in you.
I know.
You could make her a very happy woman.
Well, that was more or less my idea, Mr. Winslow.
Oh, you don't mean you're going to get a job. Extra. Rich man's son goes to work.
I've worked even on a newspaper. I had to eat.
If your father ever knew that.
Henry, we'll have brandy downstairs.
Yes, miss. I finally located your party, sir. He's on the telephone.
I'll take it in the den.
Yes.
Will you excuse me? I'll join you all in a moment.
Well, shall we all go downstairs now?
Now I want to tell us some more of your story.
Hello, Kelly? Please connect me with Mr. Kelly.
You got a nice little joint here, Romano. I'd hate to see you lose it.
Mr. Kelly.
Either you let me have that piece of property on Jefferson Street, or...
Well, why should I?
Hey, I've got something here that'll send you back to finish 40 years in jail. Or maybe you'd like it that way.
Yeah, maybe he would.
What is it?
Telephone for you, sir.
Hello. Hey, we have a talk louder. I can't hear you. All this noise.
Come on, Peggy.
Oh, I won't take any arguments. I told you how I wanted that decision written, and I want it ready for the commission tomorrow.
For the last time, Kelly, I tell you I can't go through with anything so flagrant. It's a fraud. I've never done anything like it. I don't care if it means my career. I won't go through with it.
Go away, you. What? Thanks. I can't hear you. Say, what's going on here? What are you doing in my pocket?
I wasn't in your pocket.
Get a cop.
Now, wait a
I
minute.
didn't do anything, did I, Mr. Romano? Let me go.
Hey, what's the idea, Romano? Slipping a light-fingered Dave on me to pick my pockets.
No, please, Mr. Kelly, it's all part of the dance.
Yeah, well, see you dance for the next 6 months in a cell.
Kelly. Kelly.
You try anything like this again, and I'll close your joint.
You're wrong. This girl only started here tonight. I don't even know her.
Take her out, Joe. Come on.
I didn't do anything. Let me go.
Oh, Henry.
Yes, sir?
Tell my daughter I had to go into town. I'll be back as soon as possible.
Very good, sir. Your laurels, Dad.
Oh, Doctor, you're very clever.
My dear Mrs. Randolph, may I say in all modesty, my humble talents have not begun to manifest themselves.
Neither have mine.
I knew it. What is your principal accomplishment?
Well, I recite.
I was afraid of that.
And yours?
I do not recite.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
That makes two games. You had enough?
And Cat's our champion.
Ex-champion.
I'm afraid it just isn't my evening. Would you care to play, Helen?
Oh, I'd love it.
And Peter?
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me a moment, will you? Any word from Father yet, Henry?
No, miss. Miss Lawn is here. Shall I ask her to come down?
Oh, of course. Mr. Ritter, I have a surprise for you. No friend of yours.
Friend?
Hello, darling. How are you?
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I just couldn't make it.
Oh, I was terribly sorry, too. You remember Marion Lawn, no friend of your Harvard days?
Well,
Oh, now, Pat, I told you Mr. Ritter and I never met in our lives.
Well, I thought you said that...
Oh, no, dear. I said I knew of Mr. Ritter in his Harvard days.
Oh, I see. You had me worried for a bit. I couldn't place you.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Mrs. Randolph, Dr. Morton, Mr. and Mrs. Winslow, Marion Lawn.
How do you do?
Of course, everybody knew him, a lad of many accomplishments.
Oh, he had a great reputation. Do you still play?
Horses? Well,
No, Jack, the saxophone.
Oh, no, the violin, of course.
That's right. I remember hearing your mother speak about it.
You never told me you played.
Well, that was just a youthful indiscretion.
Oh, don't you believe him? He was very good.
Shame on you. Now you've got to play for us.
Well, I haven't played for years. I don't even know where the old old fiddle is.
You can't get away with that. Father has one upstairs. I'll get it for you.
No, please, never mind. I refuse to destroy Miss Sloane's illusions.
Oh, no excuses,
Never mind,
please.
my boy, even if your technique is a little rusty, we're all your friends. Better come to the bar. I will fortify you with a drink, a Dr. Morton special. I have a premonition, my boy, that this is all you're going to need.
Well, maybe you're right. Ow, you clumsy idiot!
Oh, what's happened? Get some iodine.
Here it is.
Oh, good. Get some iodine quickly.
Wasn't that careless of me?
Operator, hasn't a message come for me yet? I'm Mrs. Ritter, Mrs. John Clark Ritter.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Ritter. It just came in.
Oh, thank you. Operator, will you take an answer, please?
Certainly.
I confess that situation was too much for me. What is wrong, Barry? What is it?
Everything. Didn't it strike you funny about the judge?
What?
The way he disappeared after dinner and never came back.
My dear boy, a judge is the last thing I ever miss.
No, you were too busy.
Poor Mrs. Randolph. You know, my heart cried out in sympathy for her.
What's the matter with her?
She's lonely. I don't suppose you could understand that. How would you like to be beautiful, young, a widow with a yacht, a place in Connecticut, a winter place at Palm Beach, $1 million worth of gilt-edged securities, and lonely? Nobody to share them with you. It's monstrous, my boy. It's criminal.
You certainly are.
What is it, Barry?
This settles it. We're leaving here tonight.
You're crazy. We can't.
We are.
Now, look. For 2 days, we have been acclimating ourselves. We have successfully hurdled the most difficult barriers. Now, green, luscious fields of opportunity are beginning to open up before us, and now you want to leave. What is that?
Just a little message from Mother. We can't get away with it, Doc. We're beginning to involve the lives of some people who we just can't do it.
Nonsense, my boy. Why, within a week, sweet Mrs. Randolph may ask me to marry her.
Within a week, we'll be a long way from here.
I believe in the democratic procedure. Let us put it to a vote. No.
Yes.
Deadlock.
Do you know who this Peter Winslow is?
No.
He's one of the greatest criminal lawyers in the country.
Well, just the type of man to cultivate.
It so happens that he and Pat insist upon helping me.
Splendid.
I mean, help young Widow for his mother's sake.
Noble gesture.
I'm seeing him tomorrow morning to discuss my future.
Why did you want to do that?
I didn't. They're interested in me.
Well, what are we going to do?
Get out of here tonight.
It's a pity we couldn't stall it until a week or so, till after the cruise.
Cruise?
Didn't I tell you? We are going to spend the weekend on Mrs. Randolph's yacht.
We're leaving here now.
Now?
Yeah, now. Before Willits or anybody...
What about our clothes?
Our clothes?
Now, listen. I am a unique size. My clothes wouldn't fit anybody else. I can't see any harm.
All right, go ahead and pack them, but hurry up. Come in. Willits, what are you doing up this late?
I was awakened, sir. I beg your pardon, sir. A young lady to see you.
At 2:30 in the morning?
Lady?
Who is she?
I don't know, sir. She refused to divulge her identity.
What could a lady want to see me about at this time of night?
Tell her you're not at home.
No, I'd better see her. Where is she?
In the drawing room, sir.
You want any help?
No. You just go ahead with what you were going to do.
If there's nothing else, I'll retire.
Are you sure she was a lady, Willard?
Can one ever be?
You probably only saw her from the back. Well...
You wanted to see me?
No. I want to see Mr. Ritter.
Oh, Mr. Ritter's in Europe. I'm his son.
Well, if you're John Clark Ritter, Jr., I'm your wife. And you've just been arrested for murder.
Murder? Wait a minute. I'll get you a drink. Drink this.
Thanks. Oh.
Feel better?
Yeah.
Tell me all about it. Who am I supposed to have murdered?
Mike Kelly.
Kelly?
But you didn't.
I know I didn't.
I mean, Jack Ritter didn't. Who are you?
Well, I'm Barry Gilbert. I broke in here 3 nights ago to get out of the rain. The servants arrived, mistook me for young Ritter, and I didn't bother to disillusion them. You then, I take it, are Mrs. Ritter, Jr.
I'm Mrs. Ritter, Jr., whether you take it or not. Here.
It says here they arrested someone named J. Rogers.
Well, that's the name we've been using for the last 2 years. What are you questioning me for? You've got a lot of nerve, haven't you?
An awful lot. Comes in handy sometimes.
Well, I need more than nerve right now.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I have to offer.
I'm not so sure of that.
What do you mean?
Well, Jack hasn't taken a cent from his family for years. But now he's got to, for his defense.
Well, then his mother would know what's happened. He can't do that.
Exactly. That's where you come in, Mr. Ritter. You're going to cable your mother. You're going to tell her that your best pal, Jay Rogers, is in trouble and that you need $5,000 right away.
Now, wait a minute. I'm leaving here tonight. I made up my mind to that before you came in.
You're going to change your mind, Mr. Ritter.
Okay. Where did you meet young Ritter?
I met him in Florida 2 years ago. He asked me to marry him, and I said I would if he'd get a job, stop drinking, and straighten himself out. He did. Then everything was all right for a while until I got sick and he lost his job. Then we came to New York. He got $500 from his mother, but I made him send it back. You know that. Then about a week ago, I got a job at the Coconut Bar. But I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah. But how is it you're not in jail now?
The sergeant was a regular guy. There was no one to bring charges against me, so he let me go.
But why did your husband go to Kelly? That's what I can't understand.
Listen, if some guy tried to manhandle your wife and have her pinched, maybe you'd like to tell him off, too.
Now, take it easy. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about.
Of course not. You got John Clark Ritter, Jr. with you here now. He'll take care of everything.
I've had Rogers brought up here, Mr. Ritter. You can see him for about 10 minutes.
Thanks.
Okay, Fred.
May I go in first?
Sure.
Hey. You know, it's the law you're fooling around with.
Yeah. Pretty good to have it on our side for a change, isn't it?
Our side. Do you realize all that kid has to do is open his mouth and we'll all be roommates?
I'm not worrying about him. Say, who do you think could have murdered this Kelly anyway?
Offhand, I should say some enemy. Listen, you still have time to get out of this.
Doc, you're getting old.
Oh, yeah? Heard any complaints?
Maybe somehow in this way we can keep your father from knowing about it. Oh, darling, don't you see? It's our only chance.
All right. Call him in.
Come in, Mr. Ritter. Darling, this is Mr. Ritter, the man I told you about.
This is a screwy setup,
Mr. Ritter.
Peggy thinks you're straight. She's never been wrong yet.
Thanks. Your mother thinks you're quite a guy. She thinks you're home right now starting from scratch, doesn't she?
Yeah.
All she seems to be living for is to straighten things out between you and your old man. That would make her a pretty happy woman. But if she ever found out about this, it would just about kill her. Isn't that right?
I guess so.
And it seems to me the only thing to do is to get you out of here before they come home, without them ever knowing anything about it. Maybe get you a job so you can make her think you're something like she'd want you to be. If you want to take a chance, okay. If not, say so now.
Okay.
All right. Now, what's the story?
Well, just what it said in the papers. Somebody knocked Kelly's head open with a whiskey bottle.
How did they figure you had anything to do with it?
Well, that's the way the cops are. Just because they pinched Peggy and I went over to see Kelly, they had an airtight case against me. Kelly's Filipino boy must have told him I did it. But if he did, he lied. 2 minutes after I got there, Kelly's phone rang. He said he was expecting somebody and rushed me out. Find out who came there to see him, and you've got the murderer.
I've got the murderer. Now, wait a minute. Your wife didn't tell you I was a detective, did she?
Well, then, what are you going to do?
Well, everything I can, but only what I can. I'm going to cable your mother for $5,000, get you the best lawyer in town, let him hire detectives, and... well, it's the way it's done, I guess.
Listen, you. By this time, I suppose you know I'm not very strong for my father. But if you're using this as a grab bag, I'll break the whole story and send you up for 20 years, even if I have to go up with you.
I'm going to say in that cable that a letter's following. You better write it.
From here?
Well, give it to Mrs. Rogers. I'll mail it from Westchester.
But I don't... What'll I say?
Well, it's simple. Just tell her that this friend of yours is in a terrible jam and it's your chance to help him out because he's got a grand little wife who's strong for him and... Well, tell her you're looking for a job and that you love her. Oh, you sap. Don't you know what to write to your own mother?
Mr. Ritter, I presume?
A very great presumption indeed. What are you doing here? Where's Mr. Winslow?
He just stepped out for a moment.
That still doesn't tell me what you're doing here.
Oh, I'm sure you won't mind my being at your conference. Having no business of my own, I have...
You've a passion for everybody else's. You know, I think we should really decide on a job for you instead of for me.
Oh, so you're backing out already, eh?
No, but look, you people are very well-intentioned, I know. But you don't seem to realize that whether my father knew it or not, I've been doing the toughest kind of work for the last few years. I came home for a rest, not for a job.
And then last night you told us that John Ritter Jr. was going to show John Ritter Sr. that he...
That's right, I did. And how's your father?
He's all right. Why?
Well, you seemed quite worried when he didn't get home last night.
Oh, well, he stayed in town at a hotel. It seemed he saw a horrible accident. He was quite upset about it. A taxi cab ran wild and knocked over a lamppost and killed a poor old woman.
Oh, that's terrible. The way those taxis speed around, there ought to be a law.
Did I hear you mention law?
Hello.
Hello, Jack. This is pleasant.
Thanks.
Well, have you and the prodigal settled on a career?
Oh, before we go into that, I have something very important.
Oh, so you're stalling.
No, honestly. You know, it's a funny thing. Instead of you getting me a job, I've got one for you.
Peter, he tried the same tactics on me. Please be careful.
This happens to be serious, Miss Hammond, so it's quite possible you'll be bored.
All right, I'll listen.
You've read all about the Kelly murder?
Yes.
Well, this kid they arrested, this J. Rogers, he's a very good friend of mine.
You certainly get around, Mr. Ritter.
I met him in Florida a couple of years ago. He was trying awfully hard to get along, and his wife was putting up such a swell fight for him that I became interested. He's innocent, Mr. Winslow, I'm sure of that. But we need your help.
Why are you so sure he didn't murder Kelly? The police seem to think...
Haven't you noticed that the police always seem to think? Maybe that's what's wrong. If you'll just talk to him, you'll be as convinced as I am.
All right, Jack, I'll do it for you. Now that you've given me a job, I guess I'll have to find one for you.
Oh, no, don't bother. It's perfectly all right, I assure you. About the retainer, I'm cabling Mother tonight.
Don't worry about that.
Then you'll go and see him?
I'll try and make it this afternoon.
No, that's swell of you. Well, I've got a million things to do. So long, Pat.
Well, hey! Hey, Jack, what about that job? Well, he can certainly change the subject. But he won't get away with it.
Well, did he take the case?
Baby, your worries are over. Over. Here's $100 to start.
Well, what for?
Go on, take it. It's your money anyway. Now, where do you live?
3rd Avenue near 62nd Street.
Kelly only lives a couple of blocks from there, didn't he?
Yeah, 62nd near Park.
Evans, drive east on 62nd Street.
Why?
My boy, I have a morbid desire to visit the scene of the crime.
Dr. Morton, the famous criminologist.
You may not be aware of it, but there was a time when I was considered one of the foremost detectives of this country.
Oh, you mean the time you worked off that hotel bill by being a house detective?
Yeah, Barry, you put it so crudely.
There's Kelly's house.
Ah, very interesting.
They're still hanging around.
I guess they expect to see a ghost.
That's Boss Kelly's joint. That's where he was murdered last night.
What did they do? Wreck the neighborhood?
No. Taxi cab did that. Ran wild and smashed a poor old woman up against it. Hurt her? Wouldn't be surprised. It killed her.
What is the matter, Barry?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking what I was going to say in that cable. Willits, do I detect a note of disapproval in your manner?
I hope not, sir.
It's there, though, Willits. A sort of a resignation, almost a pout.
I am sorry, sir.
Oh, but that doesn't cure it. What's the trouble?
Nothing, sir.
Come, Willits, we're men of the world.
Well, there was the young lady, sir.
Ah, you see, Doctor, the typical provincial viewpoint. A young lady spends the night, and Willits thinks the worst.
But she did spend the night, sir.
You know, you shouldn't jump so hastily at conclusions.
Begging your pardon, sir, I don't think that I did.
That young lady is the wife of a friend of mine, J. Rogers, who at this moment languishes in durance vile.
He means in jail.
Naturally. And I regret my misconstruction of what was apparently merely a friendly gesture, sir.
That's all right, Willett. Please see this goes off at once, will you?
Immediately, sir.
What was that?
The radiogram asking Mother for $5,000.
$5,000. First, it was only trespass, then grand larceny. Now it's murder. I don't like it.
You don't like it? How do you think I feel?
How?
Wonderful.
And you are going to take a job under the name of Ritter?
Oh, no.
How can you help it?
Say, I've ducked jobs before. I'm an expert at it.
Mr. Winslow to see you, sir.
Winslow? Thanks.
What does Winslow want?
Well, he probably saw the kid today. When we get through with this business, we leave.
Promise?
Word of honor. Hello, Mr. Winslow.
Hello,
Good evening, Miss Hammond.
Oh, you ran out on me.
Hello, Doctor. I hope there's plenty of sickness.
Well, Mr. Winslow, I hope there's plenty of crime.
Would you care for some coffee?
No, thanks. We had dinner in town. Stopped in to tell you I saw young Rogers.
Well, he is innocent, isn't he?
I'm sure of it.
Well, that's fine. How soon can we get him out?
Immediately after the trial. The district attorney could never get a conviction.
We'll have to go through all that. How long will it take?
Some time, unless the murderer is turned up.
Oh, I hate to leave him in jail. You see, the doctor and I were planning a little trip.
I thought you were planning to work. You know, work.
Oh, yes, I know. Work.
Pat had a great idea. Get a job on your father's newspaper.
That's an excellent idea.
I think it's a terrible idea. You see, I refused to work on it once. And that's what we quarreled about, among other things.
All the more reason why you should work on it, to patch things up. You've had newspaper experience, or at least you said so.
Oh, of course, but, well, I don't want to get a job that easily, you know. Owner's son, silver spoon sort of thing.
How about using another name no one need know? Peter is a great friend of Bill Harwood's. You know, the editor. You can do something, can't you?
And Harwood will never know.
Well, that sounds better, but,
What about a name?
Barry Gilbert. That is the name you used when you worked. What is the name of that paper?
The Oklahoma City Bugle.
Then it's settled. I'll arrange for Bill to see you the first thing in the morning.
You'll go then. Word of honor?
My word of honor's working overtime tonight.
All right, Gilbert. Winslow says you've had experience.
Yes, sir.
Where?
Oklahoma City Bugle.
Doing what?
Well, police reporter for a while. Then I edited the racing news, picked selections for the day.
We can't use you there. We've got the best hot tip selector in the country, the very best. Joe Axel, never misses. You know him?
Yeah.
Cost me a fortune.
Me too.
Winslow says you know this Rogers kid.
Very well.
Okay, you can start him doing human interest story on him and his wife. Stretch him out for a couple of weeks until the trial gets going. Think you can do it?
I'll try.
See Joe Dillon in the city room. He's been covering the case at police headquarters. Maybe you can give him some dope. Okay, get going.
Thanks.
Just a minute. I want to give you a warning. I don't want any detective stuff.
What do you mean?
Whether that kid is innocent or guilty is none of our business. But every leg man who carries a reporter's card thinks he's a combination of Sherlock Holmes and Charlie Chan. Well, not on this paper.
Okay.
Wife works awaiting husband's trial by Dixie DeVore. Through the ages, women have shown their true colors, their real courage, when the men they love are in trouble. Take, for instance, the case of Peggy Rogers. Have you ever read such awful tripe in your life?
Say, that's real writing, lady. I want you to know that stuff's got a lot of heart interest. It's human, it's readable.
Oh, so that's why you haven't been home for a month. You've been busy defending the honor of Dixie DeVore.
Miss Hammond, I am Dixie DeVore. And I work mighty hard at being Dixie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. I think it's wonderful.
What?
About your holding your job. I didn't think you'd last a week. How does it feel to make an honest living?
Awful. Don't ever try it.
Oh, I think I'd like it. When your father comes home, I'm going to ask him if I can be Dixie DeVore. When do you expect him?
I don't know. They should be sailing soon.
Oh, grand.
Wonderful.
I want to be at the pier when you tell your father you're working on his paper. Can't you just see the old bear's face?
Can I?
Oh, what a laugh on him. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. It's 1 o'clock. I've got to get back to the office. Waitress, check, please.
Thanks, pal. Well, Gilbert. Yeah? Kid, you're only going to have a couple of more days ringing down tears for Rogers. How come? It's going to be sprung in 48 hours.
They caught the guy?
We will in 48 hours. Who is it? You read about it in the paper. But I will tell you this much. It's going to bust this town wide open.
So you can just start saying goodbye to all your pals around here. You'll be out in 48 hours.
But how can you be sure? Suppose this Dillon only thinks.
You don't have to worry. Now, you better do some thinking. Your mother gets back soon, and you have an awful lot of covering up to do.
I know.
I'm leaving here tonight. Everything's all fixed for you. Peggy knows all about it.
Thanks, Gilbert.
Well, good luck, kid, and give my regards to your mother.
What's your hurry? Where are you going?
Well, I tried to get a job once on a paper called the Oklahoma City Bugle. And they told me to come back when I'd had experience. Good luck, Peggy.
Barry, stop the press, stop the news, stop everything.
What's the matter with you?
My weeks of investigational effort have not been in vain, and I have more than earned my bread and board. I have unearthed the murderer.
Oh, don't be silly.
Barry, I tell you, I have uncovered the culprit.
You're a little late, so is Joe Dillon.
Did he say who it was?
Said I'd know in 48 hours.
I can spring it right away, but you would never believe it from my lips. I'll have to prove it to you. Come on, my boy. Now, time is the essence. Every minute is costing us money.
You say on the night Kelly was murdered, you drove a man to his house?
No, I didn't say that. What I said was I took a fare to 62nd and 5th.
Well, what does that got to do with it? I guess 1,000 people took cabs to 62nd and 5th.
Now, wait a minute. Go ahead, my man.
Well, it was a very funny thing. After he gets out of my cab, I go over to 3rd Avenue for a couple of beers. Then I'm cruising around about a half hour later when there's an accident. A cab smacks a lamppost and kills an old lady on the sidewalk. Well, there's a big crowd gathers round, and I see this same guy again, so I signal him. And here's the funny part of it. The guy walks away quick, like he never saw me before.
Would you recognize him if you saw him again?
Recognize him? I've known him for 10 years.
Who is he?
Judge Hammond.
Yeah, but I ain't talking.
Here you are, Mike.
Oh, thanks.
There you are.
So that's what Joe Dillon meant when he said he'd bust this town wide open. See you later.
Keep out of this, Barry. I'm the detective.
Where's Miss Hammond?
She's in the drawing room, sir.
Pat, I've been phoning you since 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, that pile of messages was very flattering. You really had to see me, didn't you? What's happened? Maybe you can do better sitting down.
Thanks.
What's the matter?
Well, I just found out about something, and I don't quite know how to start.
Well,
Let me say something first. I never met a girl I cared so much about in all my life. I never will again. Please believe that, will you?
yes, I believe you.
It's about your father.
My father.
He was at Mike Kelly's house the night of the murder. The first night I came to your home. Remember you were worried why he didn't return? Well,
I don't believe you.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
It can't be. You're lying. That paper of yours has never let him alone. You're trying to ruin his career by tying him up with a murder. You're as low, as ruthless as your father.
It's going to break in the papers the day after tomorrow. It's only right that he should know so he can defend himself.
It's cheap, sensational scandal-mongering. It didn't take you long to pick up the Ritter technique, did it?
Well, maybe I should have gone straight to your father. Don't you see, Pat? I know he didn't do it. He must have left before it happened.
He was never at Kelly's that night.
But I was.
Oh, Father. Father, tell him it isn't true. Please do.
He's right. We mustn't allow an innocent man to suffer.
Do you think that makes any difference to him? All he wants is a story for his newspaper.
Yes, I was at Kelly's, Mr. Ritter, but I didn't murder him.
I tell you, I was right after all, Peggy. Gilbert's a crook. He said I'd be out of here by yesterday. I tell you, he's pulled a fast one. Run off with most of the 5,000. Took a 2-day head start.
I can't believe it. I can't. Something must have gone wrong.
Did you call Winslow?
He hasn't seen him for 3 days.
But I've got to... Well, what happened? What's the trouble?
Isn't Jack going to be released?
You said you were going to leave town 3 days ago.
Yeah, I was. But after I left here, I found out you weren't going to be released, and I couldn't leave you in a hole.
But what have you been doing the last 3 days?
Everything I could. It didn't amount to much.
But you were so sure.
Joe Dillon was sure. He still is.
Well?
Well, he's wrong. He thinks Judge Hammond is guilty.
Judge Hammond?
Yeah. Seems the judge was the one who called on the phone and went up there after you left.
Maybe he is guilty.
No, he isn't.
Well, he's got to get out of here. His family will be back any day.
Well, I'll meet them. I'll tell them.
What?
I don't know.
Mr. Winslow.
Well, young man, you're free.
Free?
They got the murderer?
Oh, darling.
You must be crazy. You're making a mistake, I tell you. I've got absolute proof that Judge Hammond had nothing to do with it.
Hammond? Who said anything about Hammond?
Joe Dillon.
Joe Dillon? I thought so. You better read the newspaper.
And he leaves right away?
Yes.
Well, so long, kids. I've got things to do and not much time to do them in. And here I am. That's the whole story, boys. Whether you believe it or not. Will you do it?
I don't know if it'll work, sir.
Sure it'll work.
Thanks. Well, let's get Miss Hammond on the phone for me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gilbert. We can't do it.
We might as well tell the truth. It won't work.
It's got to. The most important thing in the world to your mother is that you've been doing what your letter said you were. Living here, going to work every day. You've got to take a chance. Tomorrow you start looking for a job, any job.
But it's desperately important, Miss Hammond.
I'm sorry, but I'm not at home to Mr. Ritter.
Well?
I'm sorry, sir, but she won't speak to you.
She won't, eh? Tell Evans to get the car.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Willets. Where's Dr. Morton?
I don't know, sir. Begging your pardon, sir, we thought that his visit was over.
I haven't been able to find him for 2 days.
Have you tried Mrs. Randolph's residence, sir?
Yeah, no answer. Better try again, Willis. Tell him to meet me at the office as soon as he can get there.
Yes, sir, certainly.
Mr. and Mrs. Ritter arrive at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
I just got a radiogram. What's that got to do with you?
Now sit back and relax, Mr. Harwood. There's something I got to tell you. Hold on, it may be a shock to you. Listen.
I can't very well disregard their radiogram, Peg. It's common courtesy.
It's too common for me, thank you.
Well, there they are.
You should have given us more notice, J.C.
I didn't know at the last minute. Confounded doctor's beginning to work on me.
You mean you're not coming back to work?
Work? I can't even read a newspaper. I'm leaving for California in 24 hours. Rest and quiet for the winter. Come, hurry it along.
J.C., I think you should know what this lad has been up to.
Huh?
He deserves much more credit than you've ever given him.
Who is that boy with them?
Well, that's funny. Where's young Ritter?
You fool Howard and got a job from him under another name?
A chip off the old block.
Yes, sir. Fooled old Howard.
Certainly did.
My boy, I never saw you looking better. Never.
Hello, Judge.
Oh, hello, Winslow.
Judge.
Well, Mr. Ritter. Mr. Ritter, it's good to have you home again.
Thank you.
You know Jack and his wife. Of course, I almost forgot you were neighbors. Let's go to the car and start uptown.
All right, Howard, all right. You'll follow along, Judge.
Oh, yes.
I tell you I gotta leave here right away.
Well, go ahead. But I can't give you your salary without Harvard's okay on the voucher.
Hey, boy.
Has Dr. Martin called yet?
No!
So, you and Howard ran down the murderers, eh?
No. Well, that is...
No, don't be too modest. That's one bad habit that we Ritters have. Howard, I want to tell you of a little incident before.
Barry, see you at my office later.
Gilbert.
Dr. Harwood wants to see you. In there.
Thanks. Why? I'm sorry, they told me that Mr. Harwood wanted to see me.
That's all right. Please come here. I'm Mrs. Ritter. How can I thank you?
Oh, I think you must be making some mistake.
Oh, no. I rode up from the boat with Jack and Peggy, and they told me.
Oh. Well, how about Mr. Ritter?
It's all right. We're leaving for California tomorrow. He need never know.
Well, say, that's perfect.
Why did you do this for Jack, Mr. Gilbert?
Well, it wasn't so much for Jack as... Well, you see, I opened your radiogram and...
If I had another son, I'd want him to be like you.
Like me?
Like you.
Say, I know where there's 120 of them, where I came from. They wait every day of their life for someone like you to come along and take them home. I knew you'd be exactly as you are.
Sorry to interrupt. Gilbert, 51st Street and East River, quick. Society elopement on a yacht. Catch the bride and groom at the landing. Hurry up.
You mean I'm not fired?
You will be if you miss that story.
But, Dad, I've just got to find out who he is.
Well, he's probably left town.
Well, he'd better. If I ever see him...
South Seas, aren't we, dear?
Yes. I just can't wait to get you alone on an island.
How about a statement, Commodore?
Statement? My wife pays all the statements. I'm not a businessman.
How long are you going to be gone, Commodore?
Harry. Oh. I've been looking everywhere for you.
I've been looking for you, too.
Meet Mrs. Norton. Mrs. Norton wants you to accompany us on our yachting.
Oh, no, you don't. Sorry. But I'm afraid he's going to be much too busy for that. Now, would you mind explaining what this is all about?
Well,
Don't you want to?
Well, it would take a lifetime, I think.
Darling, that's just what I mean.
Scoop, get it. Go on.